Welcome to Daily Verse Devotion. Today, we're embarking on a deep and mysterious journey, exploring one of the least told, yet most fascinating stories in human history. It's the story of the wives of the fallen angels, women who received forbidden sacred knowledge, secrets meant only for the highest heavens, but somehow revealed and passed down to humanity. These wives not only endured a tragic and sorrowful fate after the Great Flood, but might also be the origin of the mysterious legends of the Sirens in Greek mythology. Half-woman, half-bird creatures, with enchanting and dangerous songs. Why has their story been shrouded in darkness for centuries? What secrets caused them to be forgotten or deliberately hidden? And what profound lessons could these ancient legends hold for us today? Join me as we lift the veil on these mysteries, explore every detail, and uncover the truth behind these ancient tales in today's video. Let's dive right in. Part 1. The Wives of the Fallen Angels, the beginning of an eternal legend. Across ancient civilizations, a mysterious narrative has echoed through time, a tale that sits precariously on the boundary between heaven and earth, between holiness and rebellion. This is the story of the fallen angels, known as the Watchers, and, more specifically, the mortal women they took as wives. Far from being mere myths or folklore, this story is preserved in some of the oldest religious texts known to humanity, most notably the Book of Enoch, an apocryphal work dated over 2 millennia ago, revered by early Jewish and Christian sects alike. The Watchers were angels entrusted with the sacred task of watching over humanity. Yet the Book of Enoch records a grave transgression. And the Watchers saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took them wives of all which they chose. 1 Enoch 6-2. This simple statement belies profound theological implications. The Watchers' descent and marriage to human women represent a fundamental breach of divine order, a crossing of the celestial boundary that separates the divine from the mortal. Biblical scripture echoes this in Genesis chapter 6, verses 1-2. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. This union is not only a crossing of worlds, but also the catalyst for a new epoch, the emergence of the Nephilim. The Nephilim, described as giants and mighty men, are the offspring of this divine human union. They are depicted as beings of enormous strength and renown, yet their legacy is marred by violence and corruption. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. Theologian Michael Heiser interprets the Nephilim as symbols of humanity's hubris and the disruptive consequences of forbidden knowledge. Their existence exemplifies the dangerous melding of divine power and human fallibility. Scholar Elaine Pagels reflects on this narrative as a profound metaphor for humanity's ongoing struggle with forbidden knowledge. The story embodies humanity's temptation toward forbidden wisdom and the inevitable consequences of overreaching pride. The Watchers' rebellion is emblematic of a cosmic tension, the fragile balance between divine law and human aspiration. Their wives, in accepting this knowledge and union, became the bearers of a legacy that both empowered and doomed generations. Pause for a moment and consider. Why do you think such a story has persisted across centuries and cultures. Is it merely myth, or does it reflect deeper truths about human nature and our thirst for knowledge beyond our limits? Beyond religious texts, similar motifs appear in Near Eastern mythologies, where boundary-crossing beings bring both wisdom and ruin. The Dead Sea Scrolls, for instance, contain fragments that reinforce the warning against divine secrets falling into mortal hands. The Book of Jubilees expands on the Watcher's corruption, emphasizing the moral decay that followed. Historian Jeffrey Burton Russell notes, "The Watchers and their descendants encapsulate the perennial human fascination with power beyond human reach, a power that both seduces and destroys." As we begin to unravel the stories of these mysterious wives of fallen angels, we prepare to delve into the forbidden knowledge they inherited, knowledge that forever changed the course of human history. In the next part, we will examine this sacred yet dangerous wisdom, its contents, and the role these women played in transmitting it across generations. Part 2. The forbidden knowledge of the fallen angels' wives. When the Watchers descended and took mortal women as wives, they did not just create a powerful hybrid lineage. More importantly, they shared with their wives forbidden knowledge, sacred secrets that God never intended for humanity to possess. According to 1 Enoch 8-1-3, the Watchers taught their wives various forbidden arts, including ancient magic, arcane rituals to summon spirits, and command supernatural forces, astrology, interpreting the stars and celestial signs to foresee destiny and manipulate nature, mastery over natural elements, fire, water, earth, and air, herbalism and poisons, crafting potions with healing or harmful powers, even curses, weapon forging and warfare techniques, empowering the Nephilim to dominate. The text explicitly states, "And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they taught them the use of metals, and the art of working gold and silver." This transmission of divine secrets to mortal women was a profound transgression. These arts were reserved for the heavenly realms, guarded secrets that sustained the cosmic order. By sharing them with humans, the Watchers broke the celestial laws, initiating a spiritual corruption that echoed throughout human history. Have you considered how knowledge, when misused, can become a double-edged sword? Can power without wisdom or morality lead only to destruction? Through these women, the forbidden knowledge was passed to future generations, forming secret bloodlines skilled in sorcery and occult practices. This hidden civilization spread across ancient lands, bringing not only empowerment, but also chaos and decay. Dark forces grew stronger, disturbing the harmony between God and mankind. Professor Jan Zwicky comments, "The story illustrates the dangers of unchecked knowledge and the ethical responsibilities that come with power." Because of this spiritual rebellion, divine judgment was inevitable. The Great Flood was not only a physical cleansing, but a cosmic reset. In the next section, we will explore what happened to these women after the flood. Did they survive? Or were they transformed into mythic beings like the Sirens? Part 3. The mysterious transformation of the fallen angels' wives. After receiving forbidden knowledge, The fate of the wives of the fallen angels became far more complex. Ancient texts, especially the Book of Enoch, describe a mysterious transformation, a curse that altered their very essence. According to these texts, these women no longer retained their purely human forms. Instead, they became hybrid beings, part human and part supernatural. They are described as creatures half woman, half bird, with wings and bird-like legs, living at the boundary between sky and sea. They used enchanting songs to seduce and lure humans, a figure closely linked to the Sirens of Greek mythology. Interestingly, the original Sirens of Greek myth differ greatly from the mermaids we commonly imagine today. Classical sources, such as Homer and later poets, describe sirens as bird women, not fish-tailed mermaids. They inhabited rocky, deserted islands, luring sailors with hypnotic melodies that led to shipwrecks and death. Ancient texts even record several sirens by name: Adam, Tai, Pino, Glypia, Pirano, Leia, Laosia. Each was said to possess unique powers, weaving tales of seductive danger and fatal enchantment. What do you think the symbolism of these creatures tells us? Could the sirens represent the tragic blend of beauty and destruction, holiness and fallenness, much like the wives of the Watchers themselves? Beyond Greece, many cultures harbor similar myths of hybrid, alluring creatures. In India, Nagas are half-human, half-serpent water spirits with magical powers. In Japan, Kappas, half-human, half-turtle beings, feature prominently in folklore related to water and nature control. In West Africa, Mami water are water spirits, depicted as half-human, half-fish, famed for their magical allure. The recurring appearance of half-human, half-animal beings worldwide points to a shared human consciousness theme: our fascination and fear of powers that transcend human limits. Sirens and their analogs may symbolize profound warnings about enchantment's dangers, the perilous allure of power and knowledge beyond what humanity should wield. But if these wives became such hybrid beings, did they retain any human qualities? And how do these stories connect with the Great Flood and the Nephilim? In the next part, we will explore the biblical context and the cataclysmic judgment that shaped these legends. Part 4, the Nephilim and the Great Flood. We have learned about the fallen angels, their wives, and their mysterious transformation into enchanting hybrid beings. But this story is closely tied to a crucial event in the Bible: the appearance of the Nephilim and the catastrophe of the Great Flood. In Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 to 4, we find a clear record of this event. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Those were the heroes of old, the men of renown. They were the Nephilim, giants who appeared on the earth in those days. The Nephilim, legendary giants, descendants of fallen angels and mortal women, symbolize extraordinary strength, but also widespread chaos and sin on the earth. They were not only beings of great physical power, but also perpetrators of violence, injustice, and moral decay. So God looked down and saw that the wickedness of humanity was great on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of their hearts was only evil. Before the corruption and violence became irredeemable, God decided to destroy all life on earth with the Great Flood, a cleansing event meant to restart creation. Only one righteous man, Noah, was chosen amidst this sinful era, tasked by God to build an ark to save his family and the creatures of the earth, ushering in a new era for humanity. However, though the world was cleansed by the flood, the memory and influence of the fallen angels, their wives, and the Nephilim bloodline did not completely vanish. Legends of hybrid creatures, the Sirens' enchanting songs, and the dark arts have persisted, passed down through various cultures, reminding us of the boundaries humanity should never cross. In the next part, we will explore the evolution of the Siren figure across different cultures and the deeper meanings behind these enduring legends. Part 5. The Legend of the Sirens Across Cultures. The legend of the Sirens, creatures, half-woman, half-bird, with enchanting voices, exists not only in Greek mythology, but also in many similar forms across cultures worldwide. In ancient Greek works, sirens were described as half-woman, half-bird creatures, with wings and bird-like legs, living on deserted islands. They used their captivating songs to lure sailors into dangerous reefs and doom. Archaeologists and cultural researchers have found depictions of sirens on Greek pottery and artworks dating back to the 6th century BC, showing clear details: wings, feminine faces, sharp eyes. However, over time, the image of the siren evolved, blending with other symbols to become the mermaid, a figure more familiar to us today, with a fishtail replacing wings. Yet the legend of hybrid creatures with mesmerizing powers is not unique to Greece. In India, the Nagas are half-human, half-serpent beings, considered water spirits with magical powers that can enchant and deceive humans. In Japan, the Kappas, half-human, half-turtle creatures, feature in folklore as mysterious beings with control over water and nature. In West Africa, the Mami water spirits, half-human, half-fish, are goddesses or spirits known for their magical allure, often linked to wealth, seduction, and spiritual power. The widespread appearance of half-human, half-animal beings in various cultures points to a common theme in human consciousness: fear, reverence, and the allure of powers beyond human limits. We can say that the figure of the siren and similar legends serve as profound warnings about the dangers of enchantment, of power and knowledge that exceed human bounds. These stories are not mere myths, but symbols of fall, punishment, and the eternal loneliness of those who once touched the divine threshold. In the next part, we will delve into the theological, philosophical, and deeply human meanings behind these legends. The lessons that the stories of the wives of fallen angels and the Sirens still hold for us today. Part 6. The meaning behind the legends. The story of the wives of the fallen angels. The fall of the Watchers and the figure of the Sirens is not just an ancient myth or legend. It holds deep, lasting lessons about humanity, about power, knowledge, and morality. On a theological level, this story warns us, do not exceed the limits set by God. When the Watchers shared sacred knowledge with mankind, knowledge that belonged to the divine realm, it was a betrayal, a violation of cosmic order, a direct rebellion against the Creator. The wives of the Watchers, whether fully human or transformed into hybrids, bear the burden of that rebellion. They became symbols of a dangerous mixture, the divine and the earthly, power and fallenness, beauty and judgment. On a philosophical level, this tale sparks a deeper question. What is the true cost of knowledge? Knowledge, whether it's magic, astrology, or supernatural power, without ethics, without restraint, leads not to freedom, but to ruin. This story is a mirror, reflecting the inner battle in all of us, between temptation and willpower, between strength and restraint, between the desire to rise and the danger of falling. The Sirens, with their haunting and seductive songs, symbolize temptations in life that sound beautiful but lead to destruction. They are reminders. Not everything that draws you in is meant to be followed. On a deeply human level, this story teaches us to be careful with what we seek, and even more careful with what we receive. Not all knowledge is a gift. Not all power leads to good. It is a reminder to protect the purity of our souls, to stay within the boundaries of wisdom, love, and humility. The wives of the fallen angels, the Sirens, are lonely beings, exiled, suspended between two worlds, never truly belonging to either. Through their story, we don't just hear an ancient legend, we hear a profound truth that real freedom requires responsibility. That power without moral grounding becomes a curse, and that there is a sacred balance between curiosity and reverence, between seeking knowledge and honoring the boundaries meant to protect us. In the final part, we will bring everything together, summarizing the mysteries we've explored, and inviting you to share your voice in this story. We have journeyed together through one of the most mysterious and powerful stories ever passed down through human history. The story of the wives of the fallen angels, women who stood at the boundary between heaven and earth, between holiness and fallenness. Through ancient texts, like the Book of Enoch, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the Bible itself, we've seen a divine rebellion unfold. The Watchers descended. They gave sacred knowledge to mortal women, and together they brought forth the Nephilim, the Sirens, and generations touched by forbidden power. These women, once human, were transformed into haunting symbols. Sirens, bird-like creatures with voices that lured men to death. Not just monsters, but reminders. Reminders of the consequences of crossing divine boundaries, of seeking what is not meant to be known, of using power without wisdom. But this story is more than myth. It's a message for us today. In a world obsessed with knowledge, with unlocking every mystery, with chasing every hidden power, this ancient legend whispers a warning. Not all knowledge is safe. Not all secrets are meant for us. And not every voice that enchants leads to truth. So now we turn to you. What do you think about these stories? Do the sirens represent the ancient wives of the Watchers? Or are they powerful symbols, carrying echoes of humanity's deepest fears and desires? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your ideas in the comments below. Your questions, your reflections, even your doubts. If this story moved you, if you want to explore more mysteries from the ancient world and spiritual history, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thank you for joining me on this journey. May wisdom, reverence, and discernment always guide your path. See you in the next one.